Hello, this is McD the Beast, and this is McD Sports 4 coming to you today with my reaction to the AP Top 25 for Week 4 of the college football season in 2018. I am very against some of the things in this poll. I'm going to go on a rant about some of these things in this poll, and I'm just not happy. Looking at this poll, pretty interesting poll, so let's dive into it. Number 1 is Alabama. I agree with that. Basically, I think that Alabama is I think they're the best team in college football. They beat 2 Power 5 schools so far. I think they deserve to be number 1. And by the way, they beat them 51-14 over Louisville and 62-7 over Ole Miss. Both not in Tuscaloosa. So I give Alabama a lot of credit. They get Texas A&M next week. A ranked Texas A&M team. So Texas A&M, they're new to the poll. I'll get to them later, but we'll see what they do against them. I think Texas A&M is gonna. I don't think they're gonna blow out Texas A&M like they have to the teams they played this year so far. And next is my first disagreement. Number 2 Georgia moves up 1 over Clemson. This should not happen. I'm going to tell you why this should not happen. To me, Clemson should be number 2. I think we can all agree that I think that Clemson should be number 2. Here's why. Georgia's best opponent was South Carolina. Not saying South Carolina is a bad team, but I would take Texas A&M, a win of Texas A&M on the road, by the way. On the road, even though Georgia did play South Carolina on the road. But I think Clemson's win over Texas A&M is more impressive than Georgia's win over South Carolina. I know Clemson only beat Texas A&M by 2, but it is much tougher to play at College Station in Texas than it is in Columbia, South Carolina. It is much tougher. Trust me on that. But I know Georgia blew them out, but I look at Georgia's other 2 opponents. I believe Austin Peay, a FCS team, and Middle Tennessee. I'm going to say this right now. Vanderbilt beat Middle Tennessee 35-7. So Georgia scored 2 more touchdowns. Whoop-de-doo. Also, another thing, Georgia's forced to play South Carolina every year because they're in their conference. Clemson and Texas A&M is an out-of-conference game. And Clemson beat them on the road, may I add. So, in my opinion, Clemson should be the number 2 team, and Georgia should be the number 3 team. I absolutely disagree with this flip-flop. It was close. It was only by 11 points, but absolutely disagree. Both of these teams have road games next week against teams that could pull off an upset against them. So they should be on upset alert. But we'll see what happens. But disagree with that. Clemson should be 2. Georgia should be 3. I absolutely disagree with the changing in this AP Top 25. Next is Ohio State 4 and Oklahoma 5. I'm fine with both of those. They both get home games next week. We'll see what happens. But Ohio State gets a home game against Tulane, and then Oklahoma gets a home game against Army. So let's see what happens. Ohio State, I thought they had a bye, but they don't. They get Urban Meyer back, so we'll see what happens. I'm pretty sure Ohio State and Oklahoma will both win, but we'll see. Number 6, we have a new number 6. LSU. Absolutely agree with this. I said in my video yesterday, my college football recap video, that LSU should be the number 6 team in the nation in this poll. Good, they got it right. LSU gets Louisiana Tech at home. I actually expect Louisiana Tech to stay in this game for a quarter, maybe even into the second quarter a little bit. But LSU should win that. Next, number 7, Stanford. Stanford moves up 2 spots after being an FCS opponent, primarily because of some shuffling around that area because Wisconsin and Auburn lost. I'm fine with them at 7 this week, but they better be careful as they get Oregon on the road next week. Number 8, Notre Dame. My second disagreement. Notre Dame's not a top 10 team, people. They're not. You look at Notre Dame. They beat Michigan. I mean, basically, people are relying on Notre Dame's a top 10 team because he beat a Michigan team that, if you want me to be honest with you, is probably not a top 15 team, as they're not in this poll, or maybe even a top 20 team. They beat a Michigan team by 7 points at home. Outside of that, they beat Ball State at home by 8 points. Ball State! And then they beat Vanderbilt at home by 5 points. And that's Vanderbilt, I said. How can this team be top 10 if they can't even blow out teams like Ball State? How? Next week they get Wake Forest on the road. Let's see what they do on the road for the first time this season. Number 9, Auburn. They moved down 2 spots. I'm fine with them just moving down 2 spots. They get Arkansas on the road next week. They should win that game. Actually, they get Arkansas at home. They should win that game. If they don't win that game, they should be out of the top 25. It looks like Penn State and Washington tied for number 10. I think, and by the way, I think Notre Dame should be like at where Virginia Tech is at like 13, or maybe even lower. But we put them at 13. What I'll do is Penn State should be 8, Washington 9, Auburn 10. We'll do that. But anyways, Penn State and Washington 10 and 11. It looks like they're giving Penn State the edge on this one. Both teams won. Washington should be put ahead of Penn State because it was a conference game on the road, in my opinion. Both teams get conference games next week. Penn State gets a Friday night game on the road against Illinois. They should win that one. And then Washington gets Arizona State at home. We'll see what they do against Arizona State. That's a good team in Arizona State, even though they lost to San Diego State on the road yesterday. Let's see. Number 12, West Virginia moved up 2 spots, even though their game got canceled. They get Kansas State at home. I don't know if they should move up 2 spots per se, but I don't care. It doesn't bother me. Kansas State next week at home. I think they will be ready and blow out Kansas State. I think they're blowing out Kansas State. Number 13, Virginia Tech, same thing. Their game got canceled for week 3. They get on the road at Old Dominion. Should win that one, as they don't move up at all. Mississippi State moves up 2 spots to number 14 as they dominate Louisiana and 56-10 win. They get on the road against Kentucky next week. They should be on upset alert for that game against Kentucky. I'm fine with them at 14, but they should be on upset alert against Kentucky. And by the way, my official picks are on Wednesdays for both college and NFL. Number 15, Oklahoma State moves up 9 spots as they beat Boise State at home 44-21. And I have a disagreement on this, on the mindset of this. They beat a group of 5 team. You move up 9. I know Boise State was ranked, but you move up 9 spots. 9 spots for being a group of 5 team at home. I know they're ranked. Oklahoma State shouldn't be this high. I will pit UCF. I'll even put TCU and Wisconsin ahead of them, even though they lost. Oregon and Miami all ahead of Oklahoma State right now. I'll even put Texas A&M with a loss ahead of them, and Boston College. So we'll see. So personally, I don't think Oklahoma State should have moved up that much. Maybe like 2-3 spots, but that's it. They get Texas Tech next week. We'll see what they do against Texas Tech at home. Should win that one. UCF, their game got canceled. They moved up 2 spots. They get Florida Atlantic at home this upcoming week. Only team in the group of 5 that's in the top 25. So we'll see. Hopefully they'll keep it up. They should beat Florida Atlantic at home, in my humble estimation. Next, number 17, TCU moves down 2 spots. TCU lost that game, lost that game against Ohio State yesterday. They get Texas on the road coming up. Let's see what they do against Texas on the road. That they should be on upset alert. Wisconsin, they dropped 12 spots as they lose to BYU. Um, 24-21. I don't know if they should drop down that much. I definitely agree they should be somewhere around 15. They should definitely be out of the top 10. Personally, I think if you want the honest truth, Wisconsin's going to be just fine. They get Iowa on the road next week. Big game. If Iowa wins that, they'll definitely a ranked team, Iowa. They just missed the cut, actually. But big loss for Wisconsin. I'm fine with them at 18, but I think they might be a little bit. I think they dropped a little bit too much. Next, 19 Michigan gets the win against SMU to get a game against a winless Nebraska team this upcoming week. We'll see what happens. It is at home, so they should win that. I'm fine with them at 19. Next, Oregon doesn't move at all. They stay at 20 as they beat San Jose State 35-22. And I would have moved Oregon down a spot or two because they should have blown out San Jose State. But I'm fine with them at 20. They get Stanford next week at home, number 7 Stanford. So I think that's what College Game Day is actually going to be. So big game. Here's on ABC at 8 p.m. Next, number 21 Miami. They stay the same. They went on the road and beat Toledo 49-24. I will probably flip-flop Oregon and Miami. I will probably do that. I'm not really. That's not a big deal to me. But I will probably do that. Miami, they get Florida International next week at home. Should win that one. 3 new teams. We'll start with the first new team. Number 22, Texas A&M beats UL Monroe 48-10 as they get into the top 25. I think they're in the top 25 just because they play Alabama more than anything. Because you know how. By the way, the SEC, the poll is biased to the SEC this week. I'm just gonna say that right now. Just looking at it. Texas A&M, maybe. They could be ranked. I will rather see maybe an Iowa in there instead of them, or maybe even a Duke or I don't know, maybe an undefeated team. But they did lose to 2 points at home against number 2 Clemson. Well, now number 3 Clemson, which is utter bullshit if you ask me. So I don't know. Maybe they should, maybe they shouldn't, but I think it's biased towards the SEC because they want to be like, oh, we gotta amp up Alabama's schedule because Alabama has a weak schedule, which is Alabama's fault. If you're the best team, if I was a athletic director and I had the best football team in the nation, I'll be scheduling tough games out of conference all the time. But they're probably going to lose to Alabama on the road. I don't expect them to get blown out, Texas A&M. I haven't thought of a score yet, but they get Alabama on the road next week. But I don't know if they should be ranked or not. I don't know. It doesn't upset me that they're ranked because it's early in the season. Because the College Football Playoff Committee isn't going to look at this that much. But I don't know. Next up at 23, Boston College, who deserves to be ranked. I'm just saying that right now. I'm really happy this team is ranked. Let's see what they do next week on the road against Purdue. They should win that game. But I absolutely agree that Boston College should be ranked. This, I think they got right. Rank them 23, see what they do. Michigan State, they didn't play last week, but they did get moved up a spot. I don't know. I'm fine with them being moved up a spot. They get Indiana on the road next week. Let's see what they do against Indiana. But 24 Michigan State. And then the last team, I thought they could have gone a number of different directions in this one. They went BYU at 25. And listen, I said BYU deserved to win that game. They played very hard against Wisconsin on the road and everything. But I disagree with this. They shouldn't be ranked. I look at teams like Iowa. I would consider keeping Boise State at number 25. Duke. I have Duke ranked. How about the team that beat them, California? Maybe they should be ranked. Rank Cal. How about Kentucky? Rank them. They've been pretty impressive. Personally, I don't think BYU should be ranked. I understand why though. I think it is a bit of an overreaction. They play McNeese next week, an FCS opponent. So maybe if I don't know. Let's say Iowa pulls off the upset against Wisconsin. Wisconsin will probably be kicked out of the top 25. But let's say Duke continues winning. If Duke maybe wins, maybe they kick out BYU or something. I don't know, but I don't think BYU should be ranked. I think there are people overreacting over that Wisconsin win. The AP poll is. I think they're overreacting over the win on the road against Wisconsin. But the thing that's angering me the most about this poll is 2 and 3. That is a bunch of chicken shit right there. Clemson should be ahead of Georgia. And by the way, I'm a Terps fan, so I had a rough weekend. So now let's go over the teams who dropped from the rankings: Boise State, USC, Arizona State. I expected both USC and Arizona State to drop since they lost. Boise State, I'm a little bit surprised they dropped. I think they'll definitely get back in the poll at some point this year. Other teams that receive votes, not really that close. Iowa, who definitely, I think if they beat Wisconsin at home, I think they'll be in it. Boise State, they could very well sneak back into it. Duke could get into it. Colorado could get into it. Cal could definitely get into it. They play well in the Pac-12 early. Kentucky, if they continue winning, they'll be in the AP top 25. South Florida, Texas, NC State, Arizona State, Missouri, who has a big game against Georgia this week, Utah, San Diego State, who beat a ranked team, North Texas, who had a very impressive win against Arkansas, South Carolina, Washington State, and Syracuse. One other comment. Syracuse is not on the map. I absolutely disagree with their head coach. He said, now we're on the map to his team. You guys are not on the map. You beat a Florida State team that I don't even think is making a bowl game this year. But anyways, that's my opinion about the AP Top 25. I'm not going to be talking about college football till Wednesday, so stay tuned for that. But anyways, also check out my recap video on my YouTube channel. Please go check that out. It would be greatly appreciated. And also please like and subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated. And thanks for watching the video. And this is McD the Beast signing off.